Hi guys and dolls. So today I want to review my Sonia Kashuk brushes. I don't have the full range of brushes and it seems like they always have some kind of limited edition thing out, so these aren't a review for those since I have absolutely no idea the quality. I've never bought those, and since they're consistently getting new ones, there's really no way to review them all. But I do have a few of the ergonomically handled ones, and I have quite a few of the white handled brushes, so I thought that sharing my thoughts on them might be helpful for some of you. I'm going to start this off by reviewing the white handled brushes. These are usually sold below the fancy handled ones in little bags like this. They're completely different from the dark handled ergonomical fun ones. They're cheaper. I think that most of the eye brushes are actually more useful, and so it's also great because they're a little bit cheaper. You can get multiples of each one. I know I hate never having a clean brush, or if you like a brush for a few different purposes, you can actually use it for a few different purposes because you have several of them. They range in price from like $1.99 for like the little spoolie and the brow brush or whatever, to I think $15.99 or maybe $9.99 for like the face brushes. I really haven't ventured out to the face brushes from these just because the ones they have, they don't really seem to appeal to me. The one angled blush brush that they have kind of looks interesting, but I got the ergonomical version instead, so yeah. For eye brushes, I think that they make really great brushes in terms of their functionality. As you can see, all of my brushes are stained in some way or another, and a lot of them the paint is chipped, so they're not exactly made super high quality, but they function well and they do last. I've had most of my Sonia Kashuk brushes for around 2 or 3 years, and they've held up really well. The only ones that seem to actually lose bristles on me when I wash them are the big fluffy one, which I'll review in just a second. These ones right here, I just did a video on how to modify them. They are all the same brush. These are all the large crease brush. The two over on this side have been modified. I pinched the ferrules so that they would resemble something more like a 217, whereas this one here is closer to like a MAC 226. It's just a really good crease brush, and I modified the other ones to be fluffy blender brushes. I love this brush because it applies eyeshadow really well, it blends it really well. I find them to be pretty soft on the eye, especially the ones that I modified. Since this one's kind of pointy, it's a little pokey, but it's no big deal. I do notice a little tiny bit of hair loss when I wash them, but to be honest, I'm very vigorous when I clean my brushes. I really just kind of are harsh on them. Overall, this is one of my favorite brushes from them. I love this brush. I highly recommend it. And in fact, I went to Target last night to pick another one up, and they didn't have any in stock, so other people are loving them too. This is the large fluffy blending brush or something like that. Unfortunately, Sonia Kashuk doesn't label their brushes on the brush itself or have a numbering system, so it can be kind of difficult to remember the names of the brushes. So this one I'm a little bit less impressed with. It's very I don't know, it's like it's wimpy. I find that the bristles are just a little bit scratchy. I do have a lot of hair loss when I wash these. Now, they're not completely terrible. I do keep them in my little brush corral thing that I have, but I don't use them very often. So I feel like there's other things that are better from other companies, so this would be the one I would probably skip. Though if you are in a pinch and you need a blender brush for like $5.99 or $7.99 or however much this is, it's really not bad. So this is the fluffy eyeshadow brush. I find this to be a really good, just basic eyeshadow shader brush, similar to like a MAC 239 or something similar to that. It does have brown hair, so it's great for using with more pigmented things or like blues and stuff that tend to stain your brush, as you won't really see the staining or anything. And I find that it really does a good job of both packing color on and blending. I think this is a really good eyeshadow brush. This one is called like the eyeliner smudger brush or something. It's very small. It's really perfect for doing fine detail work like under the eyes, if you just want to pat some shadow under there, or if you want to do something in the inner corner or something. It's super tiny. It's really great. I love this brush. So this is the angled eyeshadow brush. I originally had bought this brush with the intention of using it for eyeliner or perhaps brows or something. I find that it's just a little bit too thick to actually be used for that purpose. However, I absolutely adore this one for doing sharp lines on the eyes, for maybe even drawing a line in the outer corner, doing a little eyeshadow on the bottom, whatever. Because it's a little bit fluffier than your average angled brush like this, it's actually good for a little bit of blending in small areas, so I highly recommend this one. You can see I have two. I love it, and yeah, good stuff. Okay, so that's all the white handled ones that I have. So as you can see, I have some favorites in there. I have a few that I wasn't so impressed with, but overall I think that they're pretty good, and I think definitely for the amount that you pay for them, these are an amazing value. So I only have 2 real complaints with the white handled brushes, and one of those comes full circle to be a positive again. The one thing I don't like is that the finish on these, it's like they didn't lacquer the brushes enough. Part of it is because they're white, so they get stained easily, but because they're not heavily lacquered, the stains don't come off them really easily. Just from normal cleaning and wear and tear, a lot of the lacquer has kind of come off, so like I said, they stain really easily. Some of the lacquer has chipped off, so that's kind of a bummer that they don't stay nice and pristine looking like some of my other brushes. But for $5.99 each, or roughly that's about what I paid for each of these, it's not that big of a deal. And then the other thing is that the ferrules are not super good quality. Now I want to know, I've never had one of these actually come apart on me. I've never had one of the ferrules come off like I did with some Posh brushes that I had bought, and I never reviewed those because they fell apart on me. But with these, the ferrules are actually so, like, the metal is so cheap that you can pinch them. Now that actually ends up being a benefit, as I showed in a demo that I did for these, where you can actually just pinch the ferrule to create a different shape of a brush. That's actually, like I said, it comes full circle and actually becomes a benefit. So there you go, that's the white handled brushes. Overall, I highly recommend them whether you're a pro or you're just getting started. The functionality of these brushes is great. I think they work well, and most of them are really soft. So now I want to review the ergonomically handled brushes. They are sold in a package like this above the white handled ones. So these ones are, obviously the presentation is a little bit better. They have this really great looking handle, and they're kind of a green-black with shimmer. Kind of cool stuff. So this one is called the large tapered blending brush or something like that. Again, I don't know the names exactly because they don't label them like that. This one is in fact a very tapered brush. It's very, very, very soft. I would say this is one of my softest eyeshadow blending brushes. Unfortunately, it's also very large, so if you have small eyes, this probably isn't a great brush for you to use. In fact, I don't find that I use this brush terribly often for blending out my crease. What I do use this for is if I'm just having kind of like a neutral eye day, I'll use this as like a wash all over the lid. But I am really glad that I have it because I've used this on the face quite a bit. Sometimes if I ever contour a nose, I use this. I use it for under eye powder if I'm just doing like a light powder under the under eye that I'm not doing on the rest of the face. This is great to use, so this does definitely have its uses, and plus the handle's cute. I like it. And then I recently got this brush. This is called the Synthetic Domed Crease Brush. I actually know the name of this one since I have the package in front of me. It's just a dense, round synthetic brush. Mine is dirty today because I just used it to apply my makeup. I only had it for about 24 hours, but I really do like it. I think that it's nice and soft feeling on the eye. It doesn't feel like it's poking me at all. And the fact that it's synthetic means it'll be nice and easy to use with cream products and whatnot. Unfortunately, it does increase the drying time since synthetic brushes tend to take longer to dry, but it's just a small fact to include, not a reason to dislike the brush. I kind of think of it in a way as like a really big pencil brush. It's more like a marker brush. It's domed and it's very tightly packed and it's very dense. It's not really necessarily something you'd use for blending, but it's a fabulous brush and I highly recommend it. I really like it. And this is the medium multi-purpose powder brush. Now I would actually call this more of like a blush brush, though you could use this all over the face for powder. Mine's a bit dirty right now because I just used this to apply my face powder and my blush and a few other things. I find this to be really, really soft. I've only had it again for 24 hours, so I guess this is more of like a first impressions review. I did wash it and I don't think I even lost one hair. I didn't have any bleeding of the color, which was nice. I do want to note that these are not dyed like a lot of black haired brushes sometimes can be. They're like too black, so you know that they've been dyed. These ones are kind of more of like a dark brown color, so that's kind of interesting. Another thing to note is that I used to have the large powder face brush from Sonia Kashuk, and I loved it dearly. But unfortunately, my mom's cat loved it a little bit more than I did, and she literally loved it to death. So it's dead, and I haven't been able to bring myself to replace it just because I'm sad that it broke. You know, I might replace it one day. I did again when I went to Target last night. They just didn't have it in stock, so I got this one instead, and I'm pretty happy with it. I have a lot of brushes similar to this, but I think that this is really great. I believe I paid $14 or $15.99 for this, so I think that's a really great steal. And again, it has the beautiful curvy handle. So now I want to talk about a few caveats of these. The main thing that I don't like about the larger brushes is that the ferrule or the handles are plastic. Or they might be wood underneath this, like lacquer, which again, they're highly lacquered, which is great. But then because of the way that they're either lacquered or the handle being plastic, I'm really not sure what it is. There's a seam on there that you can feel when you're holding the brush, and it's not a huge annoyance, like it's not like it hurts your hand or anything, but it does kind of bother me that that seam's there, especially when you pay like $20 for a brush. I don't want there to be a seam on it. So for me, that's kind of an annoyance. The only complaint I really have about these, that I really have with the Sonia Kashuk brushes as a whole, is that they're just not available internationally. Targets, as I understand it, are only in the US, so everyone else in the whole world is missing out, and I think they're really great brushes. So yeah, that basically concludes my Sonia Kashuk brush review. I hope that you guys found this helpful and informative and everything, and I will see you guys in my next video. Remember to be vintage or tacky, just be yourself. Bye.